FM.
Little something for the A little something for the weekend with Sam Hunt.
Bit of a false start, but we got there. Sam Hunt, good morning.
Hello, yeah.
It was
what's the name of that lady?
That's Angelina.
Angelina,
Yeah.
she got it wrong this morning.
We got along, and I picked up the needle and had to bring it back again.
I thought you may have had to stop and wind up the gramophone. Well, I tell you what, I like that music you were playing just before. That's good foggy stuff, because very foggy stuff up the Salt River this morning.
Oh, is it?
Oh, yeah. Is it fog in your parts?
No, rain.
Rain?
Raining on me.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
She's raining in my heart, eh?
Yeah.
Well, it's foggy in my heart. It's all fog up here. It's good. Actually, it's strange. Just a few days ago, I was driving up on a day. A phrase kept on coming into my mind: a dark, cold day. And I was thinking, where does that line come from? A dark, cold day. And then, the old mind working, and I remembered the lines, the day of his death was a dark, cold day. And they're lines by W.H. Auden on the death of W.B. Yeats, who died in 1939. So I thought, on the strength of that, not so much something little for the weekend, a little something for the weekend, but maybe a little bit bigger something for the weekend. I'd like to read, if I may, one of the great poems of the last 100 years.
Oh, okay.
Which is this poem.
It's a big call. They're one of the greats.
One of the ones where, a lot of Auden stuff, W.H. Auden stuff, I love a lot of his work, but there's an awful lot I don't like. There's just sort of people who are trying to, what I describe as people trying to write poetry rather than poems.
Yeah.
But when he's on, he's, for me, so wonderfully on. And this is a poem, Yeats died in January, W.B. Yeats died, a great Irish poet, he died in January 1939, which of course was the year of the start of the First World War. So in this poem of Auden's, W.H. Auden's, he talks, you get references to to things that are about to happen. So I'll tell it to you, eh?
Yeah, please.
It's in memory of W.B. Yeats, died January 1939 by W.H. Auden. He disappeared in the dead of winter. The brooks were frozen, the airports almost deserted, and snow disfigured the public statues. The mercury sank in the mouth of the dying day. Oh, all the instruments agree the day of his death was a dark, cold day. Far from his illness, the wolves ran on through the evergreen forests. The peasant river was untempted by the fashionable quays. By mourning tongues, the death of the poet was kept from his poems. But for him, it was his last afternoon as himself, an afternoon of nurses and rumours. The provinces of his body revolted, the squares of his mind were empty. Silence invaded the suburbs, the current of his feeling failed. He became his admirers. Now he is scattered among 100 cities and wholly given over to unfamiliar affections, to find his happiness in another kind of wood and be punished under a foreign code of conscience. The words of a dead man are modified in the guts of the living. But in the importance and noise of tomorrow, when the brokers are roaring like beasts on the floor of the bourse, and the poor have the sufferings to which they are fairly accustomed, and each in the cell of himself is almost convinced of his freedom, a few thousand will think of this day as one thinks of a day when one did something slightly unusual. Oh, all the instruments agree the day of his death was a dark, cold day. You were silly like us, your gifts survived it all, the parish of rich women, physical decay, yourself, mad Ireland hurt you into poetry. For Ireland has a madness in her weather still, for poetry makes nothing happen. It survives in the valley of its saying where executives would never want to tamper. It flows south from ranches of isolation and the busy griefs, raw towns that we believe and die in. It survives, a way of happening, a mouth. Earth, receive an honoured guest. William Yeats is laid to rest. Let the Irish vessel lie emptied of its poetry. Time that is intolerant of the brave and innocent and indifferent in a weak to a beautiful physique. Worships language and forgives everyone by whom it lives. Pardons cowardice, conceit, lays its honours at their feet. Time that with this strange excuse pardoned Kipling and his views, and will pardon Paul Claudel, pardon him for writing well. In the nightmare of the dark, all the dogs of Europe bark, and the living nations wait, each sequestered in its hate. Intellectual disgrace stares from every human face, and the seas of pity lie locked and frozen in each eye. Follow, poet, follow right to the bottom of the night, with your unconstraining voice, still persuade us to rejoice. With the farming of a verse, make a vineyard of a curse. Sing of human unsuccess in a rapture of distress. In the deserts of the heart, let the healing fountain start. In the prison of his days, teach the free man how to praise. That's the poem.
Wow, great stuff.
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big
Huge.
It's a beautiful poem, and I love the movements in it. You know, it's in three parts, as you may have picked up, and well, it is. It's in three movements. You know, it's just wonderful.
A symphony.
Lines there that, you know, just echo on. But, you know, I love that line, you know, all that. That's, I guess, what poetry's about. People sometimes say, oh, you know, what is it about poetry? And it's a sort of, it's things are said in such a way that you can't sort of ever divorce what's being said from how it's being said.
Huh.
You can't say, the poet is saying this and give it some sort of parenthesis, because that doesn't work. I like what Ezra Pound's always often quoted, Ezra Pound's great line, poetry is a language which cannot be translated. And so it's wonderful. So in between World Cup and dodging the fog and things like that.
Did you stay up last night?
No. When they have a table tennis World Cup, I'll stay up. In fact, I may even be competing in it.
Yeah.
But no, I didn't. Did you?
No, I didn't. I already blew my my allowance for staying up on a weeknight, on a school night, earlier on the week, by catching Wanda Jackson.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she was in town.
Did you go to that?
I did.
Oh, I love her work.
Queen of rock and roll, rockabilly.
Oh, great! She's wonderful.
Yeah, and so great presence on stage. Obviously, so
Where
much.
Did she play? This is in Auckland, isn't it?
At the power station in Auckland.
At the power
she
station.
played in Wellington, I think, the night before as well.
Yeah, she was in Wellington the night before. So I hear. Yeah. This is a part of the bugger of living in the back of beyond. It's not always that easy.
No.
I mean, when I've got to go for work, it's sort of things there. One thing I have been enjoying doing, my young son Alf, his band, which is called Smoke. I think I may have mentioned before, Smoke and Mirrors.
Yeah.
They're in the smoke-free rock fest, and they're called Smoke and Mirrors.
How are they doing?
Well, they're still, we don't follow the All Whites now, so we can follow Smoke and Mirrors.
Exactly.
They are through the first round, which took place at Tiki Punga High. This is for the Northland part of it.
Oh, good.
And so then next Friday, at Forum North in Whangarei, they have the northern the northern finals,
Yeah.
which includes Smoke and Mirrors, and also a very interesting band of 4 girls from Kerikeri called Bare Feet,
Huh.
which I quite like.
Yeah.
And then I think there are about 10 bands playing on next Friday at Forum North for that, and then I think the 2 winners of that go through to the national final.
Ah, right. Well, fingers crossed.
Yeah, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great, and they're playing, and it's all original stuff they're playing.
Yeah, of course.
It's all original. So I mean, that to me is just bloody marvellous.
Smoke and Mirrors. They're going to take out
Smoke and Mirrors. Wouldn't it be funny if they won?
Yeah.
I remember years ago when Smoke Free first became an organisation.
Yeah.
And I remember a friend of mine and Barry Saunders of the Waratahs, and we were doing a tour together, and we're looking for, I think, a sponsor. Or I forget what happened now. But there was some talk about approaching smoke-free, but we knew we'd be turned down because of our bad habits.
Yeah.
And so we decided we'd call our tour the Smoke Freely Tour. Smoke Freely Tour, but we didn't call it the Smoke Freely Tour. I forget what we called it, but the smoke came into it. I think it was Smoke in the Blue Sky, or something like that. I've forgotten the name now. But, yeah, so that's good. Hey, look, just to leave you with a little something for the weekend.
Great.
And just a little, very short poem, but an old favourite, again, by W.H. Auden. But this time it's only very short. But it's a vignelle, one of those ones that repeats itself. And it's one that I've loved all my life. And I don't even know what it's called. Every time I see it published, it seems to have a different title. But it goes like this, or it did when I last heard it. W.H. Auden.